So if you're wondering whether or not you want to go ahead and debadge your car, a couple things to consider before you do so. If it's an older car and it's had a lot of time out in the sun, there's a pretty good probability that the sun will have faded the paint and have not faded, underneath the badges, of course. So when you go to remove it, you might actually see a slight color difference that you're not going to be able to get back out. Another thing to be as a little bit of a watch out is some manufacturers will actually have alignment pins in the emblems. And what that'll cause is you go ahead and remove this, you're going to find 2 holes in the body panel. Which will be a problem, obviously, and then you're gonna find out, all right, well, now I have to put the badges back, and it's a big waste of time. So first thing, you wanna make sure that your surfaces are clean. When we're gonna be going through and actually removing the emblems, there will be a fair amount of abrasion with the fishing line. So you wanna make sure that you're not introducing more scratches than you really have to when you're going through this process. I'll actually be running through with a polisher after because I'll be ceramic coating this car. But for most folks who won't be polishing after, just be mindful to try to reduce how many scratches you're gonna introduce into paint as you're debadging it. When you're using the heat gun, keep moving. Don't just hold it in one spot. That will cause problems on the paint underneath. Keep moving, keep even temperature, even distance, and then you'll take either, I use fishing line. You can use dental floss if you don't have fishing line, but just be mindful that the dental floss definitely has more of a tendency of breaking, which can get a little bit frustrating because you do have to work relatively quickly before it cools back down. And then you want to work relatively quickly. Get behind the emblem, and just like you're flossing your teeth. If you feel it start to slow down, go ahead, get your heat gun again, and give it some more heat. This is actually working pretty nicely though. Gotta get that up. Notice how I didn't just pull this off, even though it was very tempting. Pulling this will push this into the paint, which you definitely don't want because you will damage it. So just keep working. Nice and easy. All right, so now we're gonna have to go ahead and remove this adhesive. Since this is brand new car, it should be relatively easy while it's still warm. Just work it with your fingers, but that will be pretty hard on your fingers. So you can use like a plastic razor blade. This is the plastic razor blade. It is the same thing as a regular razor blade, except it's made of plastic. Do not use a metal one when doing this, please. It might help, use a little bit of extra heat. Again, don't hold it in place. So you'll notice I'm not exactly getting 100% of it. We'll still have to actually use a little bit of an adhesive remover on the paint, but we want to try to get as much of the bulk off as possible in this stage. All right, now that the bulk of the adhesive is removed, the next thing we'll go ahead and do is we'll take our cloth and we're gonna take a little bit of Goo Gone and we're gonna go ahead and spray the cloth and we're gonna dab over the area. We're not gonna just spray this because it's gonna soak everywhere, it's gonna make a big mess. So spray the cloth, let the sprays, and go ahead and dab it over the area. This way it keeps this a little bit more contained and it's a little bit less wasteful. You're gonna let this sit for a few minutes to let it work. And then we'll go ahead and we'll be able to rub off the rest. We've given the Goo Gone a couple minutes to set into the adhesive. So now we should be able to go ahead and get the rest off. There are a few alternatives to this last step, depending on whether or not you feel like spending a little bit of extra money. One option you have is a stripe off wheel. This particular one is a 3M stripe off wheel, and it's used primarily for removing pinstripes off cars. But it also does work very well for removing this adhesive. So for this one, I'll probably keep doing it this way, and then we'll finish the others with the stripe off wheel because it is faster. I think it's like around $30 for one of the wheels, but it's well worth it, especially if you have like a big truck where you have those giant dinner plate emblems on the car and a lot of adhesive to deal with. It works very well. Even if you're planning on polishing it after, you do want to try to remove as much as possible so that that adhesive does not get into your polishing pads. So get as much off as you can and use the polishing step only for removing the scratches introduced by removing the emblems. Overall, this is very simple to do. You can do it in less than an hour if you don't have that many badges to do. You just need a heat gun, some fishing line, and a little bit of patience. You can do just fine. I think it transforms the look a lot if you go back to how it looked originally versus how it looks now. I'm very happy with the results. I think it's a lot cleaner. I think it accentuates the body lines of the vehicle a lot better, even if this is a Forester. I do think it does improve the overall appearance. If you like this kind of video, hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell to get notified when I put new videos out, and thank you for watching.